The dream is not becoming stronger every time you announce it. Sometimes the announcement is where the work goes to die. You tell people what you are about to build. You feel the rush. You collect the reaction. For one night, the future feels close. Then morning comes. The post is still there. The promise is still there. But the work is still waiting. The forge does not reward the person who describes the blade. It rewards the one who finishes the steel. You know this pattern. You get a new idea, a better business direction, a new content plan, a sharper version of your dream life, a vision so clear that it almost feels irresponsible to keep it private. So you start speaking. You tell a friend. You post the plan. You change the bio. You hint that something big is coming. You explain the next era before the first hour of work has been protected. And for a moment, it feels like momentum. People respond. They believe you. They encourage you. They start seeing the version of you that you want to become. That feeling is dangerous. Not because support is bad. Support can be useful. But because attention can imitate progress so well that the nervous system accepts it as proof. You feel seen before you have been tested. You feel committed before you have built the habit. You feel like the identity has changed before the evidence exists. Then the quiet part begins. No comments, no audience, no applause, no one checking whether the promise became a page, a product, an offer, a skill, a system, or a finished rep. Just you, the desk, the blank file, the unfinished metal. And that is where the dream asks a harder question. Can you become it when nobody is watching? In the forge, the blacksmith does not carry unfinished steel into the village and ask people to admire the blade. He does not describe the edge. He does not explain the handle. He does not announce what the metal will become if the fire cooperates. He keeps it on the anvil. Because raw metal is not a result. Heat is not a result. Intention is not a result. Even the first strike is not the result. The result is what remains after the process has done its work. That is the part most people try to skip. They want the identity without the private pressure. They want the recognition before the repetition. They want the story of becoming before the inconvenience of becoming. So they announce. The announcement gives them a clean version of themselves. Disciplined, focused, serious, different now. But the forge is not impressed by clean language. The forge asks for proof. Not huge proof. Not perfect proof. Not proof that makes the whole world clap. Quiet proof. One finished page. One posted video. One sales message sent. One lesson completed. One offer drafted. One workout kept. 1 hour protected from the old version of you. That is how identity starts to harden. Not through a public declaration. Through private evidence. Every time you announce before you execute, you spend a little of the future before you have earned it. You borrow the feeling of achievement. You give the dream a costume. You create witnesses to a version of yourself that has not survived the heat yet. And when the work gets difficult, those witnesses do not carry the hammer for you. They cannot. The old version still meets you alone. It waits for the first boring task. It waits for the first missed morning. It waits for the first moment when nobody is impressed. Then it says, maybe later. This is why silence is not weakness. Silence is a workshop. Silence is where the dream stops performing and starts forming. Silence is where you can fail without making the failure part of your public identity. Silence is where you can revise without explaining the revision. Silence is where you can build enough evidence that your next announcement is not a wish. It is a report. The few do not hide because they are afraid. They hide because unfinished steel needs heat, not spectators. They know the dream life is not waiting for another caption. It is waiting for a person whose private behavior can carry public pressure. And that person is not created by saying more. That person is created by finishing something before speaking again. So here is the practical turn. For the next 24 hours, stop feeding the announcement loop. No hints, no soft launch of the new identity, no long explanation about what is coming, no dramatic reset post. Choose one proof task instead. The task must pass 3 tests. First, it must be specific. Not, I am building my brand. Say, I am writing the first script. Not, I am starting the business. Say, I am drafting the offer and sending it to one real person. Not, I am changing my life. Say, I am protecting one focused hour before I touch the phone. Second, it must be finishable. Do not choose a task so large that you can hide inside it. The old version loves vague ambition because vague ambition cannot be judged. Choose something that can be completed today. A page, a draft, a message, a lesson, a cleaned workspace, a recorded take, a simple system you can use tomorrow. Third, it must leave evidence. There should be something at the end that did not exist before. A file, a note, a sent message, a saved outline, a calendar block, a published piece, a finished rep. Evidence teaches the identity faster than emotion does. Then make one rule. Work first. Speak later. Not forever. Not as some mysterious performance. Just long enough to rebuild the order. Let the proof come before the praise. Let the result come before the reaction. Let the private standard come before the public signal. If you feel the urge to announce, write the urge down. Then use that energy for one more strike. Open the document. Clear the block. Close the app. Send the message. Finish the ugly first version. The dream does not need another witness yet. It needs another hour kept. Listen carefully. You do not have to disappear from the world. You do not have to become cold, secretive, or impossible to reach. But you do have to stop confusing being seen with being built. There is a version of you that talks less because the work has become louder. There is a version of you that does not need to explain the dream every week because the evidence is starting to explain it for you. There is a version of you that understands the order. Fire first, hammer second, proof third, announcement last. Until then, keep the metal on the anvil. Do the quiet work. Leave one real proof before you speak. And when the old urge rises to tell everyone what you are becoming, answer it with the only language the forge respects. Build first.